People do not get wealthy accidentally. Whether you have a high income or a low one, you need to make intentional financial decisions for you to build your wealth. Let me teach you how to do that. I came across two stories. The first one was about Jimmy Gathu. When he was in his 20s, he made millions and he was earning a huge salary. However, when he lost his job, things changed and he ended up having to borrow just 1,000 shillings to make ends meet. Then I came across another story of Carol Radul, and when she was young, she also got a job in media and she was earning a 6-figure salary. However, again, when she lost her job, things completely changed and she was broke. You will imagine that only people who have a low income are the ones that are so close to things falling apart just because they've lost their job. However, this problem is across the board. Whether you are making a high income or whether you're making a low one, you need to be intentional about your decisions. You don't get wealthy accidentally. You do not become financially independent accidentally. There are certain steps that you definitely need to take in order to get there. The first step is to take control of your money. When you don't have a lot of money, you're driven by your needs. And when you have a lot of money, you're driven by your wants. In both cases, you are not in control of your money. And therefore, the first step towards building your wealth is to take control of it. You need to know where your money is going and where you want it to go. In her story, Carol Radul says that she used to go to clubs and then she would say that everybody gets a drink for free. And she will do this consistently to the point where with her 6-figure salary, she will end the month without a single shilling left. When you have a high income, it is possible for you to feel like it will never run out. You feel like you can keep spending and still be left with that amount. However, you only think 1,000,000 shillings is a lot of money until you have it. When you have it, is when you realize how quickly you can go through it. And therefore, that is why it is important for you to have a way of monitoring where your money is going. You need to have something called a cash flow statement where you record the amount of money that you've received and the amount of money that you spend on different things. That way, you will always know how much money you are spending on different things every month and you'll be able to regulate it. And the reason that you're monitoring where your money is going is for you to take control of it and then decide where you want it to go. The problem with having a high income is that you have always dreamed of the day when you're going to have that high income. And when it comes, you feel like you have arrived. For example, Jimmy Gathu, by the time he was in his 20s, he was already a millionaire. He was making a high income. And so you would wonder what next for him. And because of that, he did not set goals. He did not start working towards financial independence. And so when he lost his job, everything fell apart. We live in a world that is in decay. And the moment you build a house, it usually starts falling apart unless you maintain it. And it's the same. When you have a high income, you need to work as hard to stay wealthy as you worked to get to that point. And so a net worth statement is going to help you do that, where you start making plans about where you want your net worth to go, what kind of assets you want to buy that are going to generate for you a passive income in future. So those are the two things that you need to start off by thinking about. Where is your money going right now? And where do you want it to go? You definitely need to have goals, even though you have a high salary. After you've thought about the goals that you have and where you want to be in future, you then need to think of how you're going to finance those goals that you have. And there are two ways you can go about it. Either you save money from your high income or you get into debt. Neither Carol nor Jimmy had a problem meeting their basic needs. They did not have a problem paying for their rent or buying food. They did not have a problem paying the school fees for their kids. The thing that they didn't realize is that for them to save, they still needed to make some sacrifices. They needed to forgo a holiday that they wanted to take. They needed to buy a cheaper car than they would have wanted in order to have money to invest. It doesn't matter whether you have a high income or a low income. For you to be able to save, you need to make some sacrifices. When you have a low income, you need to sacrifice needs that you have. For example, if you want to go to school, you need to sacrifice a lunch. However, when you have a high income, you need to sacrifice wants. And using that money that you are saving, you can now invest and then build towards financial independence. If you do not make the sacrifices to save and invest, you might feel the temptation to fall back on debt in order for you to invest. For Carol and Jimmy, it seems that they did not get into debt. They were so busy living in the moment. However, other people with high income sometimes turn to debt in order to be able to invest and think that it is going to be a path towards financial independence. I came across a story of a lady who used to be a humanitarian worker, and she used to earn a lot of money. And because of that, she was able to get a huge loan and use it to buy a house that she wanted to rent out and then later in her old age to live in. However, eventually that lady lost her job and the bank immediately recalled that loan. She ended up losing all the wealth that she was trying to build. When you have a high income, banks are going to be extremely willing to give you money, and you might be tempted to take as much as possible. However, resist that urge. Personally, I would advise you not to take any of that loan. You might think that the loan is going to help you build wealth that is going to lead you to financial independence. However, a huge loan will only lead you to financial bondage. Saving is the first step. You, however, need to use that money that you're saving in a way that is going to bring you closer to your goals. And two of the things that you're going to spend that money on is, first of all, on property and then on investments. You sometimes imagine that once you've bought something, that cost or that price that you paid for it is the final cost. However, there are maintenance costs. For example, if you buy a car, the amount that you've given to the dealer is not the final amount that you're going to spend on that car. You need to keep maintaining it. And it is always obvious whenever you find a person who is not able to maintain their car. Years ago, there was a media personality who had bought an expensive car and that car got stolen. He would then spend months going on social media asking people to be on the lookout for that car in order for the police to recover it. You could tell immediately that he did not buy comprehensive insurance on that car, and so he lost all the money that he had put into that car. If you do not have an expensive car, you can just park it anywhere, and whether thieves take it or you find it there, you are not worried about it. In addition to that, you might find that when you have an expensive car, you're not able to buy new tires for it. You might find a Land Cruiser that has smooth tires like a Formula One car. Property is not meant to stress you. When you buy something, you're not meant to continue being worried about maintaining it or even losing it. And the way to not worry about property is to buy just enough that you can afford and where you have thought about the maintenance cost so that you are not continuously worrying about taking care of it. The other way that you spend your money is through investments. And here you are going to face another danger. By the time you have a high income, you're probably an outstanding person. You're either an outstanding entertainer or you have been doing very, very well in your career. That's why you're being paid the big bucks. However, you might start to assume that because you are good at something, you have the Midas touch in everything, that you can touch an investment and it turns out great. And that is why people who have high incomes, people who are successful, end up investing in a lot of things that turn out bad. Before you invest in something, take time to educate yourself. Take time to understand it. If you do not understand an investment, it is better to hold on to your money and go for straightforward things like a money market fund or even a bond while you are gaining knowledge in a particular field. Do not feel the urge to rush into this. And because of your high income, you are going to be able to achieve financial independence even without going for those high risk investments. When you're looking for investments, remember this principle. Never invest in something that you do not understand. Those are the steps that you need to take to intentionally build your wealth. First of all, you need to know where your money is going. and then have goals for where you want it to go. Next, you need to decide on how much you need to save and avoid debt. If you must take debt, make sure it is a reasonable amount. And finally, when you buy something, make sure that you are able to maintain it, and also do not invest in things that you do not understand. It's a gateway to great wealth, but only if you use it well. Mike Tyson said that there is only one step from a Cadillac to the streets. You therefore need to use these steps in order to build financial stability, security, and finally financial independence.